All right, it is 5 o'clock, so I will call this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. Starting with the roll call then, Alder Feldy.
Present.
Alder Ackley.
Here.
Alder Flicky-Paneski.
Here.
Alder Perella.
Here.
Chair's here, that's 5 out of 5. Will you all please stand and join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, then moving past introductions, barring any objection, we are on to item number 5, which is approval of the minutes from our March 28th meeting. Any discussion on the minutes? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do we have it? All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no discussion on the minutes from our March 28th meeting, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. Next up is item number 6, which is RO number 138 of 2122, submitting a communication from the State of Wisconsin Tax Appeals Commission regarding the filing of petition for review of determination by the State Board of Assessors for manufacturing property in the matter of Georgia Pacific Corrugated LLC versus Wisconsin Department of Revenue. Anybody like to take this one?
I can probably take it. So what happens in these cases is that these manufacturing type properties are not assessed and the determination is not made locally, it's made at the state level. So we're just being copied in on a determination that's going to be made at the state level. We did, however, we did hire outside counsel to handle a similar matter, and we'll be providing this to her in case there's a necessity to do that. There is a legal issue around the definition in the statute, and because we went in combination with the city of Green Bay and the city of Neenah on hiring outside counsel, and we're only responsible for something like 0.1% of the cost of the attorney because we only have 0.1% of the value of the property that's at issue. Neenah and Green Bay have much, much larger plans. So it's not a real expense to us to hire somebody to do that. So.
Any questions or comments on this one? If not, do we need a motion on this, or is this just a...
Just a motion to accept and file.
Okay. Do we have a motion in that nature?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. On to item number 7, which is resolution number 168 of 2122, a resolution authorizing the addition of a neighborhood engagement specialist to the City of Sheboygan Table of Organization. Now, we had this one come up at our, I believe, prior meeting. And because the motion that was made within the committee was a motion to approve, and that approval failed, we still have this item in the committee now. So just to not let it, I guess for lack of a better way to say it, die on the docket of the 21-22 Finance and Personnel Committee, we'd be looking for a motion to forward this on to the Finance and Personnel Committee of the 2022-2023 Common Council.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. And we are on to item number 8, which is resolution number 173 of 2122, a resolution authorizing the sale of land in South Point Enterprise Campus to Sheboygan South Point Development LLC.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a document that we had talked about previously in closed session. This is a spec industrial building that would be constructed on the corner of Horizon Drive and South Business Drive in the South Point Enterprise Campus. Basically, east of the water tower that's out there. Under this proposal, Sheboygan South Point Development LLC, who is the developer, would purchase 14.7 acres of land to construct, as I mentioned, the 100,000 square foot spec industrial building with the option of expanding it to another 100,000 for a total of 200,000 if the demand is there. They will be paying $25,000 per acre for a total of $367,500. Under the terms of the offer, the city is responsible for doing the certified survey map, which would create the lot. The Department of Public Works is currently working on that. Should this get approved, they will work on recording it. And then we also have a TIF incentive going towards this project, and that will be negotiated in a separate developers agreement. And the offer requires us to do that within 90 days of acceptance of the offer. So staff is working with the city attorney's office on getting that agreement in order as well.
Questions, comments? Elder Flicky-Paneski?
Yeah, thank you. There was a provision that we strike line 650 and 651, and it was an approval by council for 30 days. And then further down in the contract, it said 90 days. So clarify for me the 90 days that we're responsible for once this goes through. I'm not understanding that.
I think the 30 days and the 90 days is related, I think it's related to negotiating this development agreement. So they gave us 90 days to get the agreement through council and get it approved for the incentive, because they can't move forward with the project without that incentive piece.
Okay, so once we approve this, once we forward this to be approved, the TIF incentive is automatically attached to this contract?
No, the TID incentive will be in a separate agreement that will come forward to the council at a later date, but within those 90 days. And it'll lay out the terms of the incentive and the minimum investment and all the requirements that we would put on the development.
Okay, thank you.
Elder Perella?
Yes, I was wondering, what else, so the city will be, create a lot to the survey, but what else will the city need to do for this lot to be sold? I mean, is there anything else that?
Besides doing the transfer documents, which the city attorney's office does, I would say there's nothing more. Once we get the lot created and it's an official city lot, then they're free to close on it, but we're hoping that their goal actually is to get us construction plans and understand that process prior to closing, if possible. So they'll be working pretty aggressively in the course of the next month or two to finalize all of that, and then be able to close and start construction shortly thereafter. But there should be nothing more from the city.
Thank you.
More question?
Go ahead.
Clarification, we are selling this to the developer. The developer will build the spec building, and the spec building will hopefully be occupied by a business, a corporation.
That's correct.
Okay.
So what we've found in this market is our vacancy rate in the industrial sector is very low, and that anytime any kind of building opens up, it's picked up relatively quickly. And a lot of our manufacturers, they get a new line of business, and then they need a building because they didn't think about that as part of the process, but they have a hard time kind of seeing how they could make a building work for their line of work. So by building this, it basically would be a shell building, unless they get a tenant before they would start construction, but they would build a shell, and then somebody else at a later date would come in and build out the inside of it to their doings for whatever the business is.
So in your experience, does the developer maintain the ownership of the property and lease it out? Or?
Yes. And that's the plan here, is this would always be this developer, and they would lease it, have a long-term lease with a tenant.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on this one? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. With that, we are on to item number 9, which is direct referral of resolution number 175 of 2122. A resolution authorizing the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order for the purchase of a multi-hog CV350 sweeper for the Sheboygan parking utility from Hardline Equipment Incorporated.
Thank
Purchase.
you. Oh, thank you. I'm filling in for Derek today. This is just a purchase of a demonstration model of a sweeper. So they are going to be putting new bristles on, giving us a full factory warranty. But the unit we have currently is actually the company that produced it is no longer in business, and it's becoming unreliable. So we are hoping to replace it with this model and have a more reliable machine for cleaning up our parking lots during 2022 and moving forward.
Alder Flicky-Paneski.
Sure. Thank you. There was talk about a rescue engine. Is that, there were 139 pages to this.
Yep.
Is that the name of the vehicle? Because partway through, I'm thinking I'm buying a street sweeper, and all of a sudden it's called a rescue engine.
I will have to look at the 139 pages, I should say. It is truly a sweeper that we're looking at. I'm not sure if something was in error on the agenda, but I can look into that. This is truly for the street sweeper through Hardline Equipment.
Okay. And truly, I regret that Derek isn't here to talk to us, because I know you do the money and he does the street sweeper stuff.
Was it in the, is it in the resolution itself, or is it just?
I think
It's in the description.
it needs to be deleted.
Yeah. It is on page 33,
There you go.
and only on one sentence.
Yep. So
The second whereas.
Page 33.
Yeah, that
Oh,
should
so
be
it must
that
be
should
in
be
the
stricken.
resolution.
Okay.
Yeah, I would suggest
Oh, I
you see it
see.
there.
Yep.
Approval with the striking.
Oh, yeah, it would actually probably,
hold.
so that's my office's fault. You should probably amend it to say funding for the purchase of the sweeper has been included in the 2022 budget.
Okay, I got more. That makes a lot more sense.
Apologize for the misunderstanding on my part.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Do we want to make that amendment?
There's another one.
Alder Feldy?
Thank you. I went through the 100-some pages, and I appreciate the breakdown of everything. What I want to know is, was this counted for in capital improvements, or is this an additional cost? Because it was $360-some thousand, as far as I understood it. And it was broken down later on into pieces. They piecemealed this on and that under, for an extra amount, but I'm guessing the 360-some thousand is like the total amount that's coming out, and where is it coming out of?
It's 134,000, and it's all coming from parking utility heavy equipment. I'm just making sure, where are you seeing it sort of coming from multiple accounts? Where is that in the resolution, you're seeing it from multiple accounts?
I don't know, what is the total is one of my questions, and then,
The total is $134,224.
okay, so they must have given us some credits along the way, because I know I saw 300 and something somewhere along the line.
And I'm
But then
looking,
as I progressed on in the
See if it's in
pages,
the
it
resolution.
was,
That would be
it
the
was
most
more
likely
broken down
place,
again.
'cause we did use a template.
I'm gonna
okay, bear with us
to
momentarily.
hold this for the
134. I don't see it in the.
Then why the hell
I
is
don't see it there.
it?
resolution looks good as far as that goes, so it is the 134. The reason I went to look at it is our office did this resolution. We used a template from a previous one, and I wonder if the rescue engine cost 300 and some thousand, but it's not there in the resolution, so.
Okay, thank
The
you.
resolution is good other than the one change that I suggested, so.
So the bottom point, the bottom would be 160, what did you say?
134.
134,000. And again, the second part of that question, does it come from capital improvements? Was it already budgeted for?
So this is coming from the parking utility fund, so it is segregated funds. There are a couple places we're going to sell the street sweeper we have currently, which will go towards it, and there were a parking lot that we sold. Those proceeds are going towards it. The rest is just from the capital account.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Perella?
Yeah, I had the same question actually from the start. So some funds, I assume the older sweeper will not return us much due to the conditions. So some funds will be coming from, so no funds were actually planned ahead of time in the CIP.
I believe, and Todd may, or actually Carrie might know this, I believe it was in 2023, and we're pulling it forward 1 year because our machine became very unreliable and is not working as it should.
That is correct.
So the only thing is that we are using, so we planned it for 2023, not for 2022. That's what you're
Correct.
saying, right?
Yep, and so it will be between the two items I mentioned, and then there will be fund balance that will be used towards this year, but then 2023 won't have that expense.
And how much was that there planned in 2023?
Looking right now. Carrie believes it was 100,000.
And how much are we going to, what's the balance that we will need to, the unplanned balance that we will need to come up with in 2022?
How much was
With an I assume there is an estimation for the old sweeper.
So the parking lot proceeds were 11,000, then the proceeds from the sweeper, we won't know until we sell it. So then the delta is that difference of, we'll say 23,000 or so from additional fund balance use.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Flicky-Pineski?
Okay, I'm following the money. If we're paying dollars, we're moving dollars forward from capital improvements to now, and it's more expensive by a third than we had budgeted for, and they're going to sell the equipment. Why does the equipment go to the utility instead of coming back to the general fund where the extra money went?
All of this is going to be taking place in the parking utility fund. Nothing is hitting the general fund. It's a special revenue fund, so all parking proceeds from all of the parking meters, all of the permits that we sell for monthly rentals of a parking space, and then also the parking assessment districts, all of that revenue goes into the parking utility fund. So that fund is actually going to pay for this sweeper. Nothing is going to hit the general fund.
Except capital improvements.
No, it'll all be coming from parking utility fund.
It's just a parking.
Utility capital improvement
Yes,
fund.
yes,
But it's not coming from the city's
Cap-
capital
Improvement fund.
correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a lot of
Got the
fun,
money.
a lot of funds and things.
It's a lot of fun.
Fun funds.
It's a lot of them, yeah, follow the money.
Finance joke, I like it. Any other discussion on this one?
Oy.
I guess the only thing I would note is what stood out to me when I was reading through this one is because the company that manufactured our current unit does not operate anymore, there aren't replacement parts available, so it sounds at least to me like we're at the point where it can't be fixed unless you want to kind of try to fabricate your own, which I would not want city staff doing. one more call for discussion. If not, we'll be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
I just am a little surprised that that had not been planned for 2022.
I can have Todd speak to that one since I was not here for that planning last year.
I mean, I'm sure that it's not possible to plan for everything, but since we are talking about, I mean, it's as predictable as it can be. It's not, it's an old equipment, so it could have been planned for 2022.
My understanding in working with Derek on this was that we knew that it was at end of life, and we recently had some additional parts break on the unit, and it's not working to the level that we need it to be. And this new one came available as a demo, as Finance Director had stated. So knowing that the existing one is broken and parts are not available, and there's a demo available, we wanted to move it forward from 23 to 22. And knowing where the funds were coming from, we felt this was a good decision for the council.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm understanding all of that, and if there is such an urgency and such a need, I am really surprised that the department head isn't here. Just need to say.
Any other discussion on this one? All right, if not, we'll be back to looking for a motion to approve.
Need the motion to amend.
Amend for.
Second.
All right, we'll need a motion to amend to replace the term rescue engine where it appears with sweeper.
I'll make that amendment.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All right, so in that case, the floor will be open for debate on the amendment. Do we have any discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion has been amended. Okay, so back to the original question now. We'll be looking for a motion to approve as amended. Do we have such a motion? Do we have any motion on this one?
Can I make it, even though I made the amended?
Yeah.
All right, then I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. All right, we have a motion and a second then. Seeing no further discussion on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
All right, chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Next up is item number 10, which is a collection of claims to be referred to the Finance and Personnel Committee of the 2022-2023 Common Council, including ROs number 135, 122, 92, 88, 69, 123, 75, and 137 of 21-22. I know this one's fairly boilerplate, somewhat like we did before with the neighborhood engagement specialist, moving these on to next year's or next session's Finance and Personnel Committee. Do we have any discussion on this one? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to refer.
I move that we refer to the new council.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. On to item number 11. This one is claims to be filed, which includes ROs number 107, 143, 121, 112, and 109 of 21-22. Do we have any questions or comments on any of these ROs to be filed? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to file.
So moved.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second then. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. Next up is item number 12, which is litigation documents to be referred to the Finance and Personnel Committee of the 2022-2023 Common Council. These documents include ROs 105, 79, 68, 32, 325, 109, and 133 of 21-22. Any discussion on referring these documents to the next session's Finance and Personnel Committee? All right, if not, we'll be looking for a motion to refer.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, and the ayes have it. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. There we go. Item number 13 is litigation documents to be filed. These include ROs number 110, 87, 67, 331, 160, 327, 124, 323, 79, 320, and 46 of 2021 and 21-22. Any discussion on any of the litigation documents to be filed? If not, we'll be looking for a motion to file.
Move to file.
All right, we have a motion and a second on filing the documents. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. And moving on to our items for discussion only, item number 14, the capital improvement plan for the cable TV.
Thank you. So for cable TV, we have three items. The first in 2023 and the second in 2025 are basically hardware items that'll be up for renewal based on our 5 to 7 usage of that hardware. The third one is in 2026, which is for the replacement of the broadcast truck. Are there any questions?
Alder Perala?
Why the one item is highlighted? I mean, the $50,000 in 2026 is highlighted as outside broadcast truck replacement.
Truck replacement.
This 2026.
They were the same year, they're yellow, if they moved it blue.
If they were in the same year, they were yellow, so that didn't move. That was same as last year.
And so, what's the difference in amount from what was planned last year and what is planned now? No difference?
Stayed the same, it's 50,000.
So so it's the same amount which was planned in 2026? So 2026 was included in the CIP from last year. Was it the same amount for the OB last year, 50,000 2026? If it was the same, what's the change? No change.
No change.
So everything else was changed except for that?
Yes. We added the broadcast server.
I'm so sorry. Would you please repeat what you said from the beginning? What is that is going to be changed in this CIP compared to last year, at least for the years that overlap?
I will have to get back to you on that. I don't remember what the CIP was for last year. I don't believe any of it has changed.
Okay. So what is it you mentioned in the beginning when you introduced the subject, Eric? What is it you said? I'm sorry, I missed
Sure.
it.
So we had three items. The first two are basically hardware items. The first one is for a broadcast server, which we're planning to replace in 2023. And the second one was for the TriCaster, which we plan on replacing in 2025. And then the third item was the broadcast truck, which we plan on replacing potentially. It'll be 21 years old in 2026.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this one? Questions, comments? Seeing none, then, thank you.
Okay, moving on to the IT capital plan for 2023 and 2024. We have items for software to replace our legacy applications that are running on the IBM I. In 2025, we have two items. One is for the data center refresh of hardware equipment. In 2025, that hardware will be approaching 6 to 7 years old. And then we also are looking at a redundant internet connection as we continue to engage in more cloud-based applications, SaaS-based applications. Our reliance on the internet becomes everly more important, and we're looking for a secondary connection. So if the first connection went down, we could still continue to conduct business. That $125,000 would be a shared portion of the total cost between the county, the Sheboygan Area School District, and the city of Sheboygan, because we all share that sync network.
Alder Flicky-Paneski.
So is that prorated?
The 125 is our portion. The county would pay 125, and the school system would pay 125. The way that original sync agreement was set up, it was a third, a third, a third.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, then, thank you, Eric.
All right, thank you.
And next up, we are to item number 15, the capital improvement plan for planning and development.
So I think the easiest way for me to do this is to walk through the added projects that were put in primarily around the Gartman Farms project, with us just purchasing that land on the south side. So just let me run through it, and if you've got questions, I'm happy to answer them. So as you know, the Gartman Farms land acquisition, we have a total of 5 installments we need to make. So we made the first installment on the closing, which was $900,000. Then we need to make 4 more payments of $693,750. So the addition to the capital plan is to account for those installments 2 through 5 of the $693,000. So you'll see there's one in 23, one in 24, one in 25, and the final payment in 26. The first 4 payments would come from the Affordable Housing Fund, which is set up for this type of projects, and the last one would either come from that or would come from general fund balance if there isn't enough money in there to pay it out. But the goal is to pay it all out of the Affordable Housing Fund if we can. The other projects that are identified in 23 is the Gartman Polth Farm Single Family Housing Engineering. So that is $250,000 to put towards either the city and or a developer developing the infrastructure to service that property. So that would be streets and utilities and roads and those types of things. That would come from the Affordable Housing Fund balance as well. And then there's a $2 million incentive for, we're believing that it's probably going to be an incentive towards a developer to offset the costs of developing this. Ideally, the city would not be the developer of the infrastructure. It would be a developer that would do that. So we've built in $2 million in 2024 and $1.5 million in 2025 to be used towards incentive for the developer to keep the cost of the land and the resale of the lots lower so that they're affordable so people can purchase single-family housing lots in those properties. This is, the thought pattern here is this is one thing we have control over. In this process, we do not have control over the construction costs from the private side, but if we can keep the cost of the land development down, and hopefully that goes to helping keep the cost of the overall house down. So, which we're not sure what's going to happen, in 2025, 26. But we know that there's probably going to need to be some type of incentive given to these, to the developer or developers in this, to develop this property. And TIF is out of the game because there is no residential TIF district. It has to be an amendment of a commercial district. And we do not have any close. And so this is the only option we really have to try to help incentivize it. This could be 0, this could be 100,000, this could be 2 million. We don't know yet, but we're trying to build a placeholder in the capital plan for this going forward so that everybody knows that it is on our radar, and as the development plans move forward, at least we have some options to fall back on for potential incentive to get this property developed. The last project then in 2027, Indiana Avenue Gateway entrance signage. The master plan for Indiana Avenue included some signage over the road at the corner of 14th and Indiana Avenue. So the $250,000 is in there as a placeholder to do some signage, and that would come from the TIF 17 fund balance. So all of the projects that have been added to this year's capital plan are funded with non-general fund, non-capital projects funding, and would come primarily from the Affordable Housing Fund and/or one TIF district.
Questions on capital improvement plan for planning and development? Alder Flicky-Peneski.
Thank you. I am a little bit confused. We have highlighted items, dollar amounts that were there before. Is that accurate? Okay. I would request, and you can chat with my colleagues, but I am used to looking at number sheets, and if there is a number that's changed, that's what I'm used to seeing as being highlighted. Okay? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well,
come here.
Yeah.
The items that are highlighted in yellow, those were in the plan the same year, no changes there. If there are any items that are highlighted in blue, those were in the plan previously, but they've shifted from one year to another. Anything that's plain white with no highlighting is an addition. And this is, our sheets have been like this consistently in the last 5 years that I've been with the city.
Okay, then, thank you for that. Then I need to go back to chat. In the capital improvements program in revenues, we have unhighlighted dollar amounts all the way across the board for borrowed funds. Am I understanding that those are new funds to be borrowed because they're not highlighted?
They don't highlight, they only highlight the projects, they don't highlight the revenues.
That's even more confusing. Okay, all right. I don't think we're going to settle that at this particular meeting. I will rest that for now. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Alder Perrella.
I just want to share a concern, or not really a concern, but since I'm highly interested in this property to be developed as much as possible into affordable housing, as most of us are, right? So I wonder, we are putting, I didn't make the calculation, but you can tell me, but I think it would be about 5.5 million from the affordable housing funds for buying the property or to incentivize the developer. Is that possible that then we don't have any leverage in making sure that, in fact, a good ratio of the houses that will be developed here will be affordable houses?
We're hoping, I think it's a little early to try to answer that question, so we've engaged a couple master developers that are developing all ranges of housing, but focused on the more affordable piece to look at this property, give us some recommendations on what it could be and how they could make the numbers work. So I think we're going to have to answer that question, I mean, our goal is to provide as many affordable housing units as we can. I think there's a little bit of a difference of opinion over what is affordable and what is not when it comes to the single family, because right now, a bare bones, 1,300 square foot, one car garage is anywhere from $160,000 to $220,000. So I think, we're probably looking at $250,000 to $325,000 is any kind of two-car garage with a basement type housing. So our goal is to figure out what the market is, figure out what the employers are. A lot of them are doing research on what the employers are paying, what the entry-level positions are, what the people could afford for a down payment and for a monthly payment. So that's all being looked in the plan, and then ultimately to come forward with a plan to the council to look at how to make the numbers work so that the city isn't having to put oodles of money into it just to keep the cost down because of inflated construction costs. So our goal, and we've heard it loud and clear, is that that we need affordable housing, and we understand that, and we continue to work through it. It's just, what is the cost, the construction cost piece, and it's ever changing, and it's not as cheap as what some people have envisioned it to be, and so we need to figure out strategic ways to try to hold the line on costs to keep the price per lots down so they're affordable. And some of these incentives are what's planned for that. Does that answer your question?
Some. Yes, thank you.
Fair enough. Any other questions? Comments? Seeing none, thank you. Next up, we are on to item number 17 then, which is CIP for Uptown Social.
Thank you, Chair. Emily couldn't make it this evening because her flight was delayed, so she was planning on being here tonight. The $600,000 for the multi-purpose room is, for 2023, is going to be paid through planned donations and possibly the Friends of Uptown Social. So it is not planned to be borrowed funds, it is to be donations. Thank you.
Questions, comments? Alder Perrella?
Which donations again? So I understand the Friends donations, the Friends Foundational donation, and what are the other donations?
Emily is working with other corporate donators, so she is working to have these donated funds from various companies and or through the Friends of Uptown Social.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Alder Flicky-Paneski.
So in 2023, the $600,000 expense for Uptown Social is new for this year or not new for this year? Was it planned from last year to this year?
It is planned for 2023 as part of the phasing. Last year was the first year of the Uptown Social being created and started. And what we're looking to do is phase the the continued construction and development of the Uptown Social. So as dollars are donated and brought in from the Friends Group, they will continue to add different rooms and/or facility enhancements at the Uptown Social.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, if not, this one was for discussion only. Alder Flicky-Pineski?
Yeah, so all of these that are for discussion, are they going to show up at capital improvements? Are they going to show up at council? Are they done?
They will be coming to capital improvements and they will be coming to council, yes.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no more discussion on this one, then this is the last meeting of the 21-22 Finance and Personnel Committee. However, the next committee's first meeting will be on April 25th. Maybe, but probably not.
Well, 100% not, because if you were approving it on the 25th, you won't be able to get an agenda out, so having people not be meeting.
I'm hearing we will not. Final answer is to be determined.
Great.
With that, we have exhausted our agenda for the last time this year. We are on to item number 19, a motion to adjourn sine die.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.